Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be sharing with you how I made Ayamase. So let's get started. In the pot I'm going to be boiling some meat and tripe, and I added some onions, some bouillon cubes and some salt. I have no water in this. I'll just cover and let it simmer for a bit. You see that after a couple of minutes the water from the meat is already boiling the meat. So I go on to add some water in there and then cover and let it cook while I go prepare for the sauce itself. So as you can see, I have all mostly green peppers. I couldn't get all green, but so here I'm gonna be using 5 green bell peppers. Next I'll be using some onions. I couldn't get the red onions, I only found white ones. I really was tired, so I couldn't go to the store to buy the red ones, so I used the ones that I had. And then I would also be using some Atarodo or Habanero peppers. Usually you use green ones, but I didn't find any green one in the stores, so I had to use this one for the recipe, and it worked as well. It wasn't terrible, it wasn't red, there wasn't no discoloration in the sauce, and it was perfect. So what I'm going to do next is just to cut them up into bite sizes, and so I can be able to blend them. Just chopping up the greens. Try to deseed as much as possible so you don't have anything, any seeds in the mix. I'm also chopping up the onions, and before I chop this, I cleaned them and rinsed them out before I blended all this together. You can see that that's a very beautiful color. Very, very, very beautiful. I love this color. You see that? So I'm going to just go ahead to blend all this together in a processor. I don't use a blender because I think it's much more easier for me. I don't need to add water into the blender. So I'm using a processor because it's easier for me and I don't need to add too much water in there. So I go on to blend this for a couple of minutes until I get a very smooth consistency. So I go on ahead to just blend the mix together. At some point I added a little bit of water into this so that I could get the right consistency. So that's what I was looking for. Then I go on ahead to just pour in a medium-sized bowl. The next thing I'll be doing is to place in a sieve to strain out all the excess water. Some people prefer to boil this at this point, but I think it's the same process, sieving up the water from the mix. So I get a sieve and strain up all the water, and then at some point I was using a spoon. I realized I had to change into a much more bigger spoon to get all the water out of the mix, and this actually really works as well. You don't have to necessarily cook it because it may take a longer time to cook. So when this is done, I set aside. Next I'll be bleaching the palm oil. This is a very important stage. So in a pot I'll be adding some palm oil. My gas is on medium to high heat, and I cook this for about 7 to 8 minutes covered. You have to cover the pot. You can see the color right now, it is this color, but when it's bleached it turns another color. So after the bleaching process, you let this cool down for about 15 minutes. You literally have to let it cool down. When this is done, I go on ahead to fry the already cooked meat in this for about 3 to 4 minutes. It just gives it a different kind of taste. The taste infused in the meat, it's so beautiful and it's so amazing. So I let this fry for about 3 to 4 minutes and then take it out or transfer it to another bowl. Next I'll be adding some chopped onions and locust bean into the oil and fry for about 2 minutes. Then I'll be adding the pepper mix. So you want to incorporate this properly and well. So I let this fry for about 15 minutes. It's a frying process, and it's fried for about 15 minutes until I see the oil floating up. You see that that's what you want to get. Next, I'll go on ahead to just mix and then add some stock and mix again. And I let this cook for about 5 minutes or 3 minutes. When this is done, I go on ahead to add my seasoning. I add my bouillon cubes and salt. That's all you need for this recipe. Not too many ingredients, or spices, I mean. You let this cook for another, I believe, 10 minutes, yeah. So I forgot to mention, during my meat cooking process, I boiled some eggs and I'm adding them into this, and also the meat. So eggs may be optional if you don't like them, but honestly, what is ayamase without eggs in it? Like, what is it? It's just bland stew. Okay, I'm joking, guys. Yeah, so I mixed this all together and let it cook for like 2 minutes, and then simmered on medium to low heat for 2 minutes. And you see, it's ready and it's done, and the oil is floating right on top. Usually I discard some of the oil that I see, because the main reason why we have the oil is just to be able to fry the sauce. So please let me know if you liked this video, and if you have any questions, I'll be sure to answer you. Please subscribe, and thank you for watching, and I'll see you on in my next video. Till then, love and light.